First and foremost, all praises are due to Yahweh Ba'Shem and Hawashai, Ba'Shem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching us his truth. Salutations to the brothers around the four corners of the earth who are teaching this word in truth and sincerity. And shalom to the hopeful elect of Israel who listen and believe in this word. This is Brother Karat Zabad coming at you with another lesson. This one is entitled The Difference Between the Spiritual Mark and the Physical Mark. And we're going to start off with Ezekiel chapter 9. Of course, Ezekiel, he was a prophet, and he was prophesying to Judah, the southern kingdom, which comprised Judah, the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. The other tribes, the other 10 tribes had left already. They were the northern tribes. They left around 722 BC after the Assyrian captivity, and they migrated around the Horn of Africa to North America and South America. Those were your Latino tribes and your Native American tribes. But the southern kingdom was still there, and there were a few prophets that did try to prophesy to to Judah and warn them of calamity that was to come if they didn't get their act together. Of course, our people are very stubborn, and they did not listen. And henceforth, you had the Babylonian captivity around approximately 586 BC that took the other three tribes into exile for a period of time. But that's another video for another time. This is Ezekiel 9 and Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 1. Of course, it says the vision of slaughter. So Ezekiel was given a vision of slaughter, okay, for Israel and Judah, all right? So this was a prophecy that was to happen in the future. And actually, we're coming up on that time now. But at the same time, the scriptures oftentimes, they speak in past, present, and the future all at once. So while it was speaking about the future time to come, it was also speaking about that time then when the Babylonian captivity would take place, because the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, the southern kingdom, they were very stubborn and they were committing all types of abominations. Okay, so... But this is the main vision that Ezekiel got from Yahweh. So the vision of slaughter, Ezekiel 9 and verse 1. He cried also in mine ears with a loud voice, saying, cause them that have charge over the city to draw near, even every man with his destroying weapon in his hand. Ezekiel 9 and verse 2. And behold, 6 men came from the way of the higher gate, which lieth toward the north, and every man a slaughter weapon in his hand. And one man among them was clothed with linen, with the writer's inkhorn by his side. And they went in and stood beside the brazen altar. So Ezekiel was actually taken by an angel to the temple. It speaks of that in Ezekiel chapter 8. But he was grabbed by his locks of hair, and he was taken to the temple, because Yahweh wanted him to see this vision. And this is the future vision that's still to come, that's going to happen. All right. And so it actually speaks about, when it says men here, it's talking about angels. All right. But there was one special angel who was clothed with linen with the writer's inkhorn by his side. Okay. And so he was a special angel, and he was there for a particular reason. And the writer's inkhorn, that was like ink. Okay. The inkhorn, you press it in, to the ink, and you can make a mark or write, etc. So these men, these 7 men total, they were actually angels. Okay, so Ezekiel 9, and let's read verse 3. And the glory of the God, of the Lord of Israel, was gone up from the cherub. And the cherub is cherubim is an angel. Whereupon he was to the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side. Let's look at the translation comparison real quick here. Let's see what we have here. This is Ezekiel 9 and 3. This is the translation comparison. This is the NLT. Then the glory of the Lord of Israel rose up from between the cherubim where it had rested, and moved to the entrance of the temple. Okay, so this is talking about the glory of Yahweh. So they're inside the temple. Okay, And of course, in the temple, you had the Ark of the Covenant, all right? And Yahweh rested in between the two cherubims, okay? So let's read this again. Then the glory of the Lord of Israel rose up from between the cherubim where it had rested and moved to the entrance of the temple. And the Lord called the man dressed in linen who was carrying the writer's case. So the writer's case had the inkhorn in it. So he had a special assignment. Let's go back here. So Ezekiel 9, and let's read, first of all, let's see what it says, what the cherubim is, okay? Let's grab that first. Or the cherub, it says here, which is short for cherubim, okay, which is an angel. I don't know if I'm saying that right or not. It's kind of a tongue-twisting kind of word there. So let's see here. That's the interlinear, Ezekiel 9 and 3. We're looking for the definition of the cherub, okay? This is the Hebrew translation of the word cherub.
Strong's H3742. Keruv.
Okay, that's how it's pronounced in Hebrew. Cherubim, okay, an angelic being, okay, as guardians of Eden, as flanking God's throne, Yahweh's throne, okay. So basically an angel, so to speak. So let's go back. If I can get to go back here. Okay, so Ezekiel 9, and let's read verse, let me see here what I have. Okay, let's read verse 4. Ezekiel 9 and verse 4. So the angel with the inkhorn was given a special assignment. And this is going to happen, this is symbolic of what's going to happen in the last days and times. So Ezekiel 9 and verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. You see? So this is coming up on this time. So this is really directed towards us, the Hebrew Israelites who have woken up and who are sickened and disgusted by the abominations that our people commit. Okay? So, of course, you have you have homosexuality, all right? You have transgenderism, okay? Abominable foods, adultery, all types of evilness going on. So the men of the Lord, okay, and a few women, a few sisters that are down with this truth, we're tired of the abominations that are happening here in America. America is very, very wicked, all right? So we're actually sighing and crying, and sighing and crying is praying, constantly praying. That's why it says, never cease praying. Pray without ceasing, because you're sighing for Yahweh Shai to come back. You're hastening for his coming because you hate being here, all right? You hate this place. You don't like it. At least I don't like it. So many of your elders, your apostles, your prophets, your teachers, all right? We're crying for Yahweh Shai, and we're hastening for him to come, okay? So the angel of the Lord is going to put a mark, symbolically speaking, on the foreheads of us who are of the elect, all right? We say hope for elect, but this is directed towards the elect. And mainly, the main thing is the spiritual mark is designated for the elect who do not give into that last temptation, which will be the mark of the beast, the RFID chip that they're going to be trying to implant in the Hebrew Israelites specifically, all right, through the forehead and through the hands. So let's read this again, Ezekiel 9 and verse 4. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem. And Jerusalem was a city, but it's also a people. So when it says Jerusalem, it has a double meaning. It means the city itself physically, but also Jerusalem, the Hebrew Israelites, okay, particularly those of the elect. And set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. And of course, we know America is very wicked. And I gave you some examples of some of the things that are going on. Men wanting to be women, women wanting to be men, abortions, okay, bestiality, all types of filthiness is going on here in America. And if you're of this truth, then you're sick and tired of it at this point. and you want to get out of here. Okay? You want to get out of here. You're hoping for everything to start popping off. As far as martial law, as far as the pestilences, as far as the initiation of the MOTB, the mark of the beast, all these things we want to happen because we know that we're in the season and we know that Yahweh Shai will be near soon after. So let's continue on. Let's go Ezekiel 9, and I have here, actually, let's see what it says here as far as the definition of mark, because the lesson here is the difference between the spiritual mark and the physical mark. There are two different marks, okay? The spiritual mark and the physical mark are two different things. They're not the same thing. So Ezekiel 9, and let's get the interlinear and see what the definition of mark is. And actually, this would be the Hebrew definition of mark. So it's two different meanings from the Old Testament and the New Testament. Let's see here. So we have here, this is the Hebrew translation of the word mark.
Strong's H8420. Tav. Tav.
Let's see what it says here. Okay. Mark as a sign of exemption from judgment. So this is the spiritual mark. And this is designated for the elect of Israel, the 1/3 out of all the Hebrew Israelites, okay, who will make it out of here on the day of the Lord. Or some of us will die before then, but the elect that died before them, they died in the faith of Yahweh Shai. Okay, so they'll be brought up when Yahweh Shai comes on the day of the Lord with the chariots. They'll be beamed up, okay? From the grave, they'll be beamed up with those that are here on the day of the Lord that are part of the elect, and they'll meet each other in the sky, okay? But they'll have the spiritual mark as well. But the day of the Lord is not going to be nice. Some of us are going to have to go through it, and some of us have already passed, but they died in the faith, so to speak. So this mark is a sign of exemption from judgment. So it's a spiritual mark. It's not a physical mark. But best believe if you take that physical mark that they got planned in Revelation 13:16, then you're going to be marked for judgment. You're going to be destroyed before the day of the Lord, and definitely if you're here on the day of the Lord, you're going to be destroyed via the nuclear weapons, all right, and as well as the laser fire coming from the chariots of the Most High. Okay, so let's continue on. Wanted to get that out the way there. So we have Ezekiel 9. Let's go to verse 5. And to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eye spare, neither have ye pity. So this is designated for the 2/3 of us, the Hebrew Israelites, okay, who are not part of the elect. And mainly if you took that mark of the beast, then you're going to be marked for death, so to speak. Or if you're just wicked, let's just say you're just, plain old wicked. And if you're wicked, most likely you're going to take that MOTB because you're going to try to save yourself. You're going to try to save yourself. You're going to try to exist in Esau's, the Edomite's so-called devil system. You're going to try to make it in his system. And that's going to mark you for death. Let's read this again, Ezekiel 9 and verse 5. And to the others he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. So a lot of us are going to be slaughtered. So, like I said, 2 out of 3 of the Hebrew Israelites are not going to make it, on the day of the Lord or before the day of the Lord, they'll be slaughtered. So it's going to be a lot of dead bodies. It's going to be like dung on the street, as the scripture says. So get your mind prepared, to see a lot of people die. A lot of people are going to be dying before then that took that jungle juice as well from the C19. So you have a lot of people falling down left and right, and the media is trying to keep it under wraps. And they're trying to say, oh, if you didn't take the jungle juice, the monkey shot, okay, then, you're going to, those are the ones that are falling dead. The ones that didn't take the jungle juice. Where, if you have the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, the Rakak Wadash working with you, and you didn't take that jungle juice, you already know that it's not that. All right? So stop falling for Esau's, his wicked devices. So let's see here. Ezekiel 9, let's go to verse 6. So this is what I talk about where death is going to come into play. and we're coming up on this time. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women. It doesn't matter. A lot of people are going to be slaughtered. Old people, young people, babies, women, men. It's going to be a lot of death. But come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they begin at the ancient men which were before the house. So this is saying they're going to begin with the Israelites. Those who know they're Israelites are going to be slaughtered first. You can go to, I believe it's 1 Peter 4:17. Okay. He's going to start with the slaughter at the house of Israel. So just because you're a Hebrew Israelite doesn't mean that you're going to be saved out of this. Okay. So many of the Hebrew Israelites who claim that they're not going to take the MOTB, the mark of the beast, they're going to take it. And they're going to be slaughtered because they're going to try to save themselves. You also have some of these camps. One is Watchmen for Israel that are saying that the MOTB is actually sin. And it's not sin. It's an actual mark. Okay, it's not sin. It's an actual mark they're going to try to implant inside your forehead or your hand. So let's see if I can get a precept on that 1 Peter, where the death is going to begin at the house of Israel first. So those that know they're Hebrew Israelites, they're going to be slaughtered first. Judgment's going to start with Israel. Let's see here if I got the right. 1 Peter 4. Here it is. 1 Peter 4:17. For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of Yahweh. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of Yahweh? So this is Paul saying, or Peter saying, if it's going to begin at the house of Israel, those that know they're Hebrew Israelites, okay, death and judgment, okay, what's going to happen to those who don't even know they're Hebrew Israelites, who don't have any idea about this truth, or didn't hearken to this truth, didn't listen? There's many people that know they're Hebrew Israelites, many of our family members, our friends, but they're not going to hearken to this truth. They're going to continue to go to their churches, continue to worship Buddha, continue to worship Allah, okay? Continue to be stubborn and rebellious. So, if he's going to slaughter those that are Hebrew Israelites, what then of them that don't even hearken to this truth at all? You can imagine the slaughter. So let's go back. I want to get that precept, Ezekiel 9, and let's read this again, Ezekiel 9:6, just to make the point. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children and women, but come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they begin at the ancient men which were before their house. So it's going to begin with the Hebrew Israelites, those that know they're Hebrew Israelites, but they're still being wicked. All right. They're still being deceitful, still being rebellious, still, not hearkening to the law, statutes, and the commandments of the Most High. They're just Hebrew Israelite in name only. All right. And like I said, many people are going to get eliminated before the day of the Lord as well. But once you die, you're going to go into the spirit world. If you're part of the 1/3 and you died in truth, then you're going to meet up with the elect on the day of the Lord. When Yahweh Shai comes with those chariots, you're going to meet up with those that are here that are part of the elect in the sky. And you're going to be, taken into those chariots. And you're going to be saved. You're going to reign with Yahweh Shai for over 1,000 years. And the planet and in the universe and everything's going to get back in order like it's supposed to be. And the other nations are going to be under us, particularly Esau, the Edomites. He's going to get the worst of it, the devil, the so-called devil, okay, so-called white man, okay, white folks. They're going to get the worst of it, all right? And also you're going to have the other nations. They're going to be in servitude under Israel. But the 2/3 that don't make it, they'll be born back in the kingdom through the loins, okay, of the 1/3, all right, as babies in the kingdom. So some 2/3 are going to get slaughtered before, the day of the Lord, and some will be slaughtered on the day of the Lord via the chariot fire and also the nuclear bombs coming from Russia and the other nations that are going to put Babylon, America, into a lake of fire. And so even if you're 2/3 or 1/3, the day of the Lord is not going to be nice. It's not going to be nice, but we don't know what's going to happen because this story is Yahweh's story. He's the great director. We're all just in his script. So we don't know what part we're going to play. We don't know if we're part of the elect. We don't know if we're not part of the elect. So you have to just go with the vibe, either way. But either way, Yahweh Shai redeemed all of Israel. So the end game is all the Israelites will be united in the kingdom eventually. But the 1/3 elect are going to go up on this side. So if this resonates with you and you believe you're part of the elect and you have faith, you read your scriptures, you pray, then most likely you're part of the elect. Let's continue on. Ezekiel 9 in verse 7. And he said unto them, defile the house and fill the courts with the slain. Go ye forth. And they went forth and slew in the city. So many of our people are going to die. Some are going to die, okay, like I said, before the day of the Lord. You're going to have Jacob's trouble. You're going to have concentration camps. A lot of us are going to be thrown in prison, those that know this truth and those that don't know the truth. And they're going to try to convince you to take that MOTB. Now, if you don't take that MOTB, there's a good chance that you're part of the elect. If you do take the MOTB, the mark of the beast, of course, you're going to be slaughtered. You're going to be killed because you're going to try to save yourself, and you're going to try to participate in this system of the NWO, the New World Order. You're going to try to participate and say, well, I got to eat. I got to survive. How am I going to survive? If I don't take this mark, I can't make it, but you're going to be dead either way, so why would you take it? If you know you're going to be slaughtered, on the day of the Lord, in fire and brimstone for taking it, don't take it. But you still can also die before then. So we don't know how the story is going to play out. Like I said, we're all just actors in Yahweh's great big production. He's the ultimate director. So everything has already been pre-written. You know what I mean? Your fate has already been determined. So let's see here, Ezekiel 9, and let's read verse 8. And it came to pass while they were slaying them, and I was left. And like I said, this is Ezekiel's scene. Ezekiel is seeing this in a vision, the prophet. All right. And I was left that I fell upon my face and cried and said, Ah, Lord, Yahweh, wilt thou destroy all the residue of Israel and thy pouring out of thy fury upon Jerusalem? So he's saying, are you going to kill all the Hebrew Israelites? And he's not going to kill all the Hebrew Israelites because he sent the one angel with the inkhorn to place a spiritual mark on the elect to stop them from being slaughtered, okay? As well as if they were put in prisons or say their head was chopped off during the when they try to convince some of us to take that MOTB, if some of us are slaughtered in the faith, you're still going to be saved, okay? You died in the faith. You died in believing in Yahweh Shai. You died not taking this MOTB. You didn't give into the beast system, okay? You didn't take the mark. So you'll be saved out of it, and you're going to meet, like I said, you'll meet the elect in the sky on the day of the Lord, all right? So all of Israel will not be destroyed, okay? And some will make it out until the day of the Lord and be extracted into those chariots. So some of us will make it through, So Ezekiel 9, and let's read verse 9. Then said he unto me, the iniquity of the house of Israel and Judah is exceeding great. So when it says the house of Israel, it's talking about the 9 tribes, the Native Americans, the Latino tribes, and Judah, which is Benjamin, Judah, and Levi. All right. Let's start that again. Ezekiel 9 and verse 9. Then he said unto me, the iniquity of the house of Israel and Judah is exceeding great, and the land is full of blood, and the city full of perverseness. For they say, the Lord hath forsaken the earth, and the Lord seeth not. So it's talking about this time now. Okay, many of our people are wicked as hell, committing all types of abominable acts. You know what I'm saying? Now, perverseness, the definition of perverseness means deliberately deviating from what is good, evilness. Okay, worshiping idols, homosexuality, transgenderism, abominable foods, adultery, living, the pagan ways, doing what the Lord commanded us not to do from the Old Testament times up until this time. But we are a very, very stubborn people. That's why he's only going to save an elect. He's only going to save a remnant, 1/3. out of all the Hebrew Israelites, because many of our people are just not going to get it and don't have to be born as babies in the kingdom through the loins of the 1/3, all right? Because many of our people just aren't going to get it because we're living wickedly like the other pagan nations. That's why he gave us the laws, statutes, and commandments to separate us from every other nation, to distinguish us from every other nation, to make us peculiar. Peculiar means different. Okay, that's why you were given the law, statutes, and the commandments to separate you from the pagan nations. But our people are very, very stubborn, and we've done wickedness, so he's going to wipe out 2/3 of us, point blank. So let's continue on. Let's go to. Do I have some precepts? Yeah. Let's read on Ezekiel 9 and verse 10. Okay, like I said, Ezekiel was like, are you gonna, slaughter everybody? And he's not gonna slaughter everybody. He's gonna save, 1/3 of us, the elect. Ezekiel 9 and verse 10. As for me also, mine eye shall not spare, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense their way upon their head. So he's gonna recompense us, okay, those of us who are doing wickedly, that didn't hearken to this word, that laughed at the prophets and the apostles, scoffed at them, and still, worshiping my Jesus, still going to church, still eating pork, still committing adultery, still doing wickedness and piling iniquity upon iniquity. And like I said, this includes Hebrew Israelites who know they're Hebrew Israelites, okay, and those who don't know, or those who know and they just don't want to hearken to the word. They're very stubborn. They don't want to come on in. So that's already been predestined. Either you're in, you're part of the elect, or you're not. It's already been predestined for you. So Ezekiel 9 and verse 11. And behold, the man clothed with linen, which had the inkhorn by his side, reported the matter, saying, I have done as thou hast commanded me. So they've been, the one man with the linen, okay, and who knows, this could represent Yahushua. This could be Yahushua. Okay, as an angel who put the mark on those, because those of the elect, we say hopeful elect, but those of the elect are striving to live in the image of Yahushua as best as possible. We're trying to be perfect like Yahushua. Now, we won't be perfect because we're in a carnal body, so it's impossible for us to be perfect like Yahushua was when he was here on the planet Earth. He was perfect. He didn't violate any law, statute, or commandment, but he had to be perfect, the perfect sacrifice. That's what he was. So once he was sacrificed for our sins, we were redeemed. All of us, the whole of Israel, whether you're 1/3 or 2/3, you were redeemed through the sacrifice of Yahushua. So he got the victory over death. Okay, now the elect is next to get the victory over death. And then the 2/3 will come through the loins of the 1/3 in the kingdom. So it's a process. It's a step-by-step thing that's happening here. But the main goal is to get us back to where we were before we went off, before Adam and Eve went off, to get us back into perfection. All right, that's the goal. That is the goal. So Yahushua had to go through what he went through, but 9 times out of 10, this may be Yahushua. I'm just, giving my opinion. It may not be, but this may be Yahushua, the man clothed with linen, that puts the mark, that, you know what I mean? He puts the spiritual mark on you not to be touched because you did what you were supposed to do. You endured, okay? You didn't give in to that last temptation. That last temptation is the MOTB, the RFID chip, the radio frequency identification device. So let's continue on. I got a couple more precepts and we'll be done. Let's go to, we went over, this is the spiritual mark. We went over the spiritual mark. Okay, so the lesson is a difference between the spiritual mark and the physical mark. Now we're going to go to Revelation chapter 13 and get some insight on, of course, the physical mark. So there's a difference. New Testament, we have Revelation chapter 13, and we're going to start off with verse 16. This should be a scripture that everybody knows by now. Revelation 13 and verse 16, Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth, who is he? He is Esau, okay? Particularly the elites of the Edomites, the so-called white man, the devil walking the planet Earth. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So when it says, and he causes, that's the elites, okay, your super high rich, okay, Edomites, okay, who want to bring in their new world order. They think that they're like Yahweh, but they're not. Yahweh is directing the left and the right. So even Esau's movements are being controlled by Yahweh. Yahweh controls everything, the left and the right. Nothing goes down without him controlling it. And there's many scriptures on that. Okay, so let's read this again, Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So he's going to try to make everybody take this mark, no matter who you are, because he thinks that he's Yahweh. He thinks he's God. Let's go here to interlinear. The interlinear, let's get the definition of mark. So this is a different word for mark as mark was in the Ezekiel 9 in verse 4. This is a different definition. This is the Greek translation of mark, but it's a whole different meaning. It ain't the same thing. There's a difference between the spiritual mark and the physical mark. Let's see here. Let's grab that. Okay, this is the Greek translation of the word mark.
Strong's G 5480. Charagma. Charagma.
So better known as the charagma. Let's see here. A stamp, an imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers. Now that's going off of the Antichrist. There are many Antichrists. There ain't just one Antichrist. Okay? A thing carved, sculpture. All right, let's go down here a little bit more. A scratch or etching. Okay, so they're going to use a needle-like device to implant the RFID chip inside your forehead or your hand. All right, so this is a different mark than the spiritual mark. It's a total different mark. But if you get this physical mark, you're going to be destroyed, point blank. All right, and I'll have a scripture on that in a little bit here. So Revelation 13 and 16, this is Revelation 13 and 17. And this is where they're going to get a lot of our people, because a lot of our people aren't going to have faith. So right now you're supposed to be building up your faith, reading scriptures, praying, and building up your faith so you'll be able to endure this last temptation. You'll be able to get through it. All right. So Revelation 13 and 17, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. All right. So, you know, the name of the beast is, of course, the New World Order, the Roman Empire, Babylon, America, NATO, all right, and the European Union. They're all in cahoots to get this MOTB set up. All right. The number of his name is basically the universal product code, 666. That's the number of the barcode. It equals 666. So they're going to get a lot of our people with buying and selling. You're going to get a lot of our people that are Hebrew Israelites and that are not Hebrew Israelites. Because people are going to say, well, how am I going to feed my family? My wife got it. My kids got it. I got to go ahead and get it then. Because how am I going to eat? So that shows a lack of faith. So you got to have faith. All right. And we know faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So you got to have faith that Yahweh Shai is coming back with those chariots, with the angels, and that he's going to save you out of this. So you have to go on faith. Even if you have to go to the guillotines, or go to prison, or you go to the concentration camps, or be involved in a mass execution, you have to endure to the end, whether you get slaughtered or not. But don't take this MOTB, because either way, if you take that, you're going to get slaughtered anyway. All right. Let's continue on. Revelation 13. Let's go to another precept. Revelation 14 and 9. Revelation 14 and 9. All right. It says here, doom for worshipers of the beast. Like I said, the beast is the modern Roman Empire, which is NATO, the European Union, okay, and Babylon, America, which heads it. So that's the modern day beast. and they're going to bring in their beast system. All right. So, and that's going to be in the form of the New World Order. And the main objective, like I said, is to get you to take the MOTB, the implanted device. Okay, Revelation 14 and 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast, which is the Roman Empire, okay, NATO, the new Roman Empire, NATO, the European Union, and Babylon, America, in his image, the image is the doctrine and philosophies of this society, the wickedness. Like I said, they're trying to make it where a man could be a woman could be a man. Okay, homosexuality is legal. They're going to make it where pedophilia is going to be legal. So this is the system that this evil devil wants to bring in. All right. Okay. So, worshiping idols, abominable foods, all types of wickedness. Okay. Because, by nature, Esau is wicked. Okay. He's known as the sons of the wicked. All right. The Edomite, the sons of the wicked, the Edomites are known as. So their nature is wickedness. Now, I'm not saying every person that looks or appears as if they're white is an Edomite, because it depends on who your father is. If your lineage goes all the way back to Jacob, okay, and one of his sons, then you can look like a white person or a Chinese person or any other race of individual, but your lineage goes back to Jacob and his sons, then you're an Israelite, and vice versa. You could be a so-called black man, and you think that you're an Israelite and you're an Edomite because your lineage goes back to Esau. So it's not saying that every person that reflects as a so-called white person, okay, is necessarily an Edomite, but just for general purposes. All right. Let's read this again. Revelation 14 and 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark, okay, in his forehead or in his hand, we know the mark is the implantable chip, RFID chip. Revelation 14. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. Okay? All right? And indignation is like, it's like righteous, righteous punishment. All right? Righteous wrath that's going to come from Yahweh. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So what is that fire and brimstone? The fire and brimstone is going to be the nuclear bombs coming from Russia, okay, and the other nations here to Babylon, America, into other parts of the world. But the main center of action is going to be here in Babylon, America. All right. So Yahweh Shai has a real, you know what I mean? He really has gripes with America, Babylon. So his main intention is going to be to destroy Babylon, America, which he's going to destroy. It's going to be a lake of fire coming from the nuclear bombs from Russia and the other nations, and the chariot laser fire. The laser fire coming from the chariots are going to be coming down too. So this place is going to be a lake of fire. That's what it's going to be, a lake of fire. So when it says in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb, that means the angels of Yahweh, okay, and Yahweh Shai, the Lamb. You're going to get burnt in fire and brimstone if you take that MOTB, point blank. It says it right there in the scripture, all right? Let's read it again, Revelation 14 and 10, so it sinks in, all right? Like I said in verse 9, if you take the mark in your forehead, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Revelation 14 and 11, and the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever. And they have no rest day nor night who worship the beast. Okay? That's the EU, European Union, and NATO, the Babylon, America, and his image, of course, his way of life, his doctrine, his filthiness, his wickedness, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name, all right, which is the universal product code, the barcode, but it's going to be implanted inside you. So let's continue on. Let's get, what does it say here? Revelation 14 and 12. Here is the patience of the saints. That's the elect, okay, who endured through all of it, who didn't give in to the last hour, the last temptation that Esau, the Edomites, are going to try to put upon you. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of Yahushua. So the elect are going to have faith that Yahushua is coming back into rulership to be King of Kings, Lord of Lords. He's going to bring the heaven on earth. He's going to get everything back in order. He's going to extract his elect, okay, into those chariots. He's going to destroy Babylon, America. So that's where your faith comes in. So don't worry about what I'm going to eat, how I'm going to buy, etc. Don't worry about that. You got to put your faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. Let's see here. I have one more scripture to read. Revelation chapter 3 and verse 10. And we'll be done. Thank you for bearing with me. Revelation 3 and verse 10. Let's see what we have here. And it reads as thus, Revelation 3 verse 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation. The hour of temptation is when they're going to spring that mark of the beast upon you to see if you're going to take it or not, okay? Which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So they're going to try to force everybody to take it because Esau, okay, he wants to get his wicked system in order, but he's not. It's not going to work, okay? He's only going to have it for a short time, the New World Order, before Yahushua comes and destroys the whole thing. That's also in the scriptures. So on that note, I hope this lesson was edifying to you, and I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, Shalom.